Authorities are investigating a burglary and vehicle theft that occurred over the weekend at an East Manhattan car dealership. The Pottawatomie County Sheriff's Office says deputies were called to Manhattan Ford Monday morning after learning that someone had broken into the building and stolen property, including a 2025 Ford F-350 pickup valued at more than $100,000. The stolen truck was later recovered within the county. Detectives, with assistance from the Riley County Police Department, identified and located a 16-year-old Manhattan boy in connection with the case who was interviewed. Some of the stolen items were recovered. The Sheriff's Office says the case remains under investigation and will be forwarded to the Pottawatomie County Attorney's Office for possible charges. The Riley County Police Department says another person has fallen victim to a scammer claiming to be a police officer. The most recent incident occurred Monday evening just after 6 o'clock when a 57-year-old woman reported that she was contacted by someone posing as an officer. Investigators say the scammer identified themselves as law enforcement and asked for payment for a legal matter. Police say she lost about $1,500 before discovering that it was a scam. The case remains under investigation. As the federal government shutdown stretches into its third week, U.S. Representative Tracy Mann says the impasse is reaching historic proportions with no clear compromise on the horizon.
This is the third longest shutdown ever. The two shutdowns that were longer were both partial shutdowns. So this is the longest full shutdown. The Senate this week is going to consider legislation that'll reopen the government. Democrats need to end this political stunt and reopen the government.
Mann says he voted more than a month ago on a measure that passed the House but stalled in the Senate, which would have kept the government funded through November 21st. The shutdown continues to impact federal workers, including airport staff, Border Patrol agents, and Farm Service employees, many of whom have either been furloughed or are working without pay.
The president was able to shuffle some money around Department of Defense and get the troops paid, which is very, very important this last pay cycle. Also been able to use some tariff money to do some things like keep the WIC program that helps very vulnerable women, infants, and children. But that those dollars are going to run out, and so we need to get the government reopened.
Mann was in Manhattan Tuesday for a tour of Manhattan Regional Airport, where he visited with airport staff, including air traffic controllers. He says about 25 TSA workers at the airport will soon be working without pay if Congress cannot reach a deal to end the shutdown. Monday's Pottawatomie County Commission meeting got off to a rocky start, quite literally, as residents from Sherman Township brought up concerns about quarry runoff impacting local farms. Resident Matt Ubel shared findings showing how nearby quarries have been eroding limestone and washing sediment into area creeks.
In this process, we learned without detailed rules and guidelines within the CUP, you cannot file a complaint when events like this happen.
Water samples taken after heavy rainfall showed contamination levels at more than 80 times above what's considered safe for livestock or wildlife. He says current conditional use permits for rock quarries don't require runoff containment and rely too heavily on minimal state inspection standards. He says more local oversight, including real-time monitoring systems, is needed.
And basically what it'll do is it'll detect outflow and it'll take readings and give you a readout. So if there's a problem, we're finding it sooner than years later.
He's also urging county officials to rethink how quarries are taxed, noting one Sherman Township quarry generates about $12 million in business but only pays $23,000 in road fees and $4,300 in property taxes. That's a look at news this morning. I'm Brandon Peoples, News Radio KMAN.
Good morning. I'm Mitch Fortner with sports. Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark, speaking at Big 12 Media Days yesterday, said that he's in favor of expanding the NCAA tournament. The Big 12 Commission also believes there is momentum for an expanded college football playoff. Yormark favors a 16-team playoff, 5+11 model, which would provide 5 automatic bids for the winners of the highest-ranking conferences and 11 at-large bids. In other news, Yormark said the Big 12 is out on private equity investment. When taking questions, Yormark also addressed the future of the Big 12's global presence with a long-term goal in mind.
I want to monetize our international TV rights. It's something currently we give away. And as we become more globally relevant over the next 6 years before we go back into the marketplace, that's a goal of mine. How do we become more globally relevant? In fact, our content right now is being distributed in Europe.
Yormark also said the Big 12 supports the SCORE Act, a bill introduced in July that would preempt state laws regarding name, image, and likeness payments that have been allowed since July of 2021. Different states have different NIL rules, creating a wild west in college sports. I'm Mitch Fortner with sports.